The big space station called Unity's Dawn floated quietly in space. It was the most important place in the galaxy right now. For the first time ever, young students from different planets would study together. Earth had worked very hard to make. This happened. Captain Lisa Torres stood near the large window of the station. She watched a human spaceship slowly move closer to dock. Inside that ship were 23 young humans, all between 16 and 18 years old. They were Earth's smartest students, chosen to represent their planet. But Captain Torres looked worried. She held a data pad in her hands. The paper showed a list of things the humans were bringing with them. Most items were normal: books, clothes, and study tools. But there was another list that made her nervous. It was labeled Support Animals and Educational Companions. Officer Blake Martinez walked up to Captain Torres. He also looked concerned. "Captain," he said, "the aliens from planet Altair are asking questions about the extra living things the humans are bringing." Captain Torres sighed. "What did you tell them?" "I said humans have special needs for learning." The Altarians seemed okay with that answer. But the gas creatures from planet Kelthan want to scan all the Earth animals before they let their students near them. Through the window, Captain Torres could see the human students floating in the docking bay. Some of them carried small boxes. Very carefully, others checked on sealed containers that looked like little houses for animals. The young humans looked very excited and happy. "Tell the school coordinator we need to delay the welcome meeting," Captain Torres decided. "I want to know exactly what animals these students brought before they meet the alien students." The captain did not know that Earth's idea of helpful pets was about to shock the entire galaxy. Down in the docking bay, the human students were getting ready. Amy Chun carefully held a glass box filled with dark soil. Something was moving inside it. "I can't wait to show everyone my earthworms," she said to her friend Tom Richards. Tom was checking on his own container. It was filled with water, and inside swam a creature with 8 arms. "Newton is going to love meeting aliens," Tom said. "He's so smart. Maybe he can learn their languages too." Jake Torres was making sure his fuzzy 8-legged friend was comfortable in her small house. "Don't worry, Samantha," he whispered to the large spider. "Everyone will love you once they see how gentle you are." The human students had no idea that most aliens in the galaxy thought earthworms were disgusting. Octopuses were scary monsters, and spiders were the stuff of nightmares. Dr. Kieran Volt was the station's expert on alien biology. She had studied creatures from hundreds of different planets. When she got the report about the human pets, she had to read it 3 times to believe it. "They brought earthworms?" she said out loud in her empty office. "And a spider? And an octopus?" She quickly looked up information about these earth creatures on her computer. The more she read, the more worried she became. Earthworms ate dead things in dirt. Spiders were predators that caught other animals in webs. Octopuses could change color, squeeze through tiny spaces, and were known to be very smart and sometimes aggressive. Dr. Volt thought about the alien students already on the station. The Altarians had bodies made of crystal that could break easily if they got scared. The Kothani were made of gas and could sense the smallest chemical changes in the air. There were also students from 15 other planets, each with their own fears and sensitivities. "This is going to be a disaster," Dr. Volt said to herself. Meanwhile, in the alien student quarters, word was already spreading about the arriving humans. The Altarian students talked to each other in musical tones that sounded like wind chimes. "I heard the humans bring living creatures with them," one Altarian student said. "Strange creatures that live in dirt and water." A Kelthani student, looking like a cloud of purple gas, floated nearby. "My sensors detect unusual biological signatures from the human ship. Something that processes decaying matter." The alien students had their own companions for learning. The Altarians brought crystal formations that stored information and glowed with knowledge. The Kofani had energy patterns that helped them think better. Other aliens had robots, computers, or light-based tools. None of them had ever heard of students bringing actual living animals to school. Back in the control room, Captain Torres was reading more reports. "It says here that humans form emotional bonds with these creatures," she told Officer Martinez. "They claim the animals help them feel calm and think better." "But Captain," Martinez said, "the Zenturian students have never seen a real predator. Their planet got rid of all dangerous animals thousands of years ago. And the Rigelians are afraid of anything that moves without a mechanical engine." Captain Torres nodded. She was starting to understand how big this problem might become. The galaxy had 17 different alien species sending their young to the school. Each species had spent thousands of years making their world safe and clean. They used technology for everything, but humans were different. Humans had grown up on a wild planet full of dangerous animals, and somehow they had learned to live with them. Even more strange, they had learned to love them. "Maybe we should separate the humans from the other students," Officer Martinez suggested. "No," Captain Torres said firmly. "This exchange program is too important. We need to find a way to make this work. Send a message to Dr. Volt. Tell her to study these Earth animals very carefully. We need to understand them before the aliens meet them." In the human quarters, the students were unpacking their things. Amy was setting up a proper home for her earthworms. She had brought special soil, food, and even tiny plants for them to live with. "Earthworms are amazing," she explained to her roommate. "They eat garbage and dead leaves, then they make the soil rich and healthy. Without earthworms, plants can't grow properly." Tom was setting up Newton's tank. The octopus immediately began exploring every corner of its new home. It changed from brown to red to spotted patterns as it examined the new environment. "Newton is really curious about everything," Tom said. "He can solve puzzles that most humans can't solve. And he's really friendly once he gets to know you." Jake was making the comfortable corner for Samantha. The large spider slowly walked around her new space, checking for the best spots to build webs. "Samantha helps me feel calm when I'm stressed," Jake explained. "Watching her build webs is like meditation. And she's actually really soft and warm." The human students talked about their pets the way other people might talk about best friends. They clearly loved these creatures and trusted them completely. But outside their quarters, alarms were starting to sound throughout the station. Dr. Kieran Volt had never felt so nervous in her 20 years of working with alien species. She sat across from the group of human students in the station's meeting room. The young humans floated in zero gravity, each holding or sitting near their animal companions. "Let me understand this correctly," Dr. Volt said slowly, trying to keep her voice calm. "You brought these creatures because they help you learn better?" Amy Chun smiled brightly and lifted up her glass container. Inside, thick brown worms moved through dark soil. "These are earthworms," she said happily. "They're so relaxing to watch. When I have big tests, I just watch them dig through the soil. And I feel much calmer." Dr. Volt wrote notes on her tablet with shaking hands. She tried not to think about what the alien students would say when they saw worms eating dirt and dead plants. "And this animal?" Dr. Volt pointed at Tom Richards' water tank. A large creature with 8 long arms was pressing itself against the glass. Its skin kept changing colors from red to brown to yellow. "That's Newton," Tom said proudly. "He's on octopus. He's super smart and helps me solve hard problems. Watch this." Tom tapped on the glass in a pattern. Tap, tap, pause, tap, tap, tap. Newton immediately tapped back with one arm in the same pattern. Dr. Volt's eyes went wide. The creature was actually communicating. But she also knew that most aliens would see those 8 arms and think, dangerous predator. "What about the spider?" Dr. Volt asked, looking at Jake Torres' small habitat. Inside, a large brown and black spider was spinning a web between two small branches. "Her name is Samantha," Jake said gently. "She's a tarantula. She helps me with anxiety and stress. When I pet her soft hair, I feel really peaceful. And watching her make webs teaches me about patience and focus." Dr. Volt almost dropped her tablet. "You touch the spider?" "Of course," Jake laughed. "She's really gentle. Want to see?" He started to open the habitat. "No," Dr. Volt shouted, then caught herself. "I mean, not right now. Maybe later." Through the meeting room's windows, Dr. Volt could see the first groups of alien students arriving. On the station, the Altarians looked like walking crystals that made beautiful musical sounds. The Kelthani floated like colorful clouds of gas. There were also students from planet Zentor, who had eliminated all wild animals from their world. Thousands of years ago, each alien species had brought their own learning tools. The Altarians had crystal computers that stored information in light patterns. The Kelthani had energy fields that helped them think faster. The Zentarians brought robots and machines that could answer any question. None of them had brought living, breathing, crawling animals. "Dr. Volt," Amy raised her hand like she was in a classroom. "When do we get to show our pets to the other students? I really want to teach them how earthworms help plants grow. It's so cool." Dr. Volt imagined trying to explain to a crystal-based life form why humans enjoyed watching worms eat garbage. Her head started to hurt. "Let's take this step by step," Dr. Volt said carefully. In the Altarian quarters, student Cree was polishing her crystal body when she heard strange news from another student. "The humans have brought decomposer organisms," the other Altarian sang in worried tones. "Creatures that consume dead organic matter." Cree's crystal body made a shocked ringing sound. On her home planet, anything that ate dead things was considered extremely dangerous and dirty. "Why would they bring such creatures to a school?" "I do not understand," her friend replied. "Perhaps humans are not as civilized as we thought." In the Kelthani section of the station, gaseous student Zeph was floating near an air vent when he detected strange chemical signals coming from the human quarters. "There are predator pheromones in the air," Zeph told his study group, "and the scent of creatures that live in soil. Why would anyone willingly carry such things?" Another Kelthani student, Flux, shifted from blue to worried purple. "Maybe humans are testing our courage. This could be some kind of initiation ritual." The Zentaurian students were having their own discussion. Student Beta 7 was calculating the risk factors of biological contamination. The probability of disease transmission from uncontrolled Earth organisms is 23.7%, Beta 7 announced to her group. "We should request immediate sterilization protocols." "But they are guests," reminded student Gamma 2. "Perhaps this is normal human behavior. Our databases show that humans have not yet eliminated dangerous life forms from their planet. Then, they are either very brave or very foolish," Beta 7 concluded. Back in the meeting room, Dr. Volt was learning more about human-animal relationships than she ever wanted to know. "Earthworms don't just eat dead things," Amy was explaining excitedly. "They turn waste into rich soil that helps new plants grow. They're like nature's recycling system." Tom had started listing all the amazing things Newton could do. "He can open jars, solve mazes, recognize different people, and he even has favorite colors. He's basically an underwater genius." Jake was describing how Samantha's web patterns followed mathematical principles. "The way she builds her webs shows perfect geometric ratios. It's like having a living art teacher." Dr. Volt realized that these humans didn't just tolerate their creatures, they genuinely loved them and learned from them. But she also knew this would be impossible for most aliens to understand. "Dr. Volt," Tom asked innocently, "are the alien students going to bring their pets too?" I'd love to see what kind of animals live on crystal planets or gas worlds. The other species don't really have pets, Dr. Volt explained carefully. They use technology for companionship and learning assistance. That's so sad, Amy said. They're missing out on so much. Animals teach you things that computers never could. Dr. Volt's communicator buzzed. It was a message from Captain Torres. Alien delegations are requesting a full biological safety briefing before any human-alien student interactions. Some are threatening to leave the program. Dr. Volt looked at the happy, excited human students with their beloved pets. Then she thought about the terrified alien students throughout the station. Somehow, she had to find a way to bring these two completely different worlds together. Students, Dr. Volt said slowly, I think we need to prepare a very special presentation about your animals. We need to help the other students understand why these creatures are important to you. That's a great idea, Amy said. Should we start with earthworms? They're really not scary once you understand what they do. Dr. Volt closed her eyes and tried to imagine 17 different alien species reactions to a room full of worms, spiders, and tentacled sea creatures. This is going to be interesting, she whispered to herself. The main auditorium of Unity's Dawn was huge. It had special air systems for 17 different types of alien students. Some breathed oxygen like humans, others needed methane gas, and the Kalthani students were made of gas themselves. The gravity could be adjusted for students from heavy planets or light planets, but nobody had prepared the auditorium for the sound that happened when Amy Chun opened her earthworm container. The Altarian students made a noise like breaking glass. Their crystal bodies vibrated with shock and fear. The Kalthani students immediately turned into thin, scared wisps of gas and tried to float away. 3 different groups of aliens with big compound eyes focused all their vision on the brown, wiggling creatures that Amy was holding in her bare hands. These are earthworms, Amy announced cheerfully to the whole auditorium. She held up a particularly big worm that was as long as her finger. They're super important for healthy soil and plant growth. Watch how they move when I touch them gently. A Kalthani student managed to make themselves solid enough to speak through the translation machine. The human is ... touching ... The creatures that eat dead things on purpose. Dr. Volt stood at the front podium. She had prepared a nice speech about working together between different species. But now she forgot every word as she watched the chaos beginning. Tom Richards was setting up Newton's water tank on a table. The octopus immediately spread all 8 arms against the glass walls of his home. Newton's skin changed from brown to red to spotted patterns as he looked at all the strange alien students. Don't worry, everyone, Tom called out happily. Newton is really friendly once you get to know him. He's super smart and loves meeting new people. Want to see him escape from his tank? I can let him out for a few minutes so you can see how clever he is. Nitrogen monoxide. Dr. Volt and Captain Torres shouted at the same time from different parts of the room, but the panic was already spreading through the auditorium like a wave. Jake Torres had started his presentation about helpful spiders. He let Samantha walk across his hands while he explained how she helped him feel calm when he was worried or stressed. See how gentle she is? Jake said, letting the large spider walk from one hand to the other. Her legs are really soft, and she never bites unless she's scared. She's actually very caring and intelligent. An Altarian student in the front row made a crystal sound that translated as, the creature has 8 moving legs and appears to be creating silk threads from its back end. Exactly, Jake said with excitement. She's making a web right now. Look how the patterns help your mind focus. You can actually learn math from studying spider web shapes and designs. The noise in the auditorium became incredibly loud. 17 different species of aliens were all making scared, confused, or shocked sounds at the same time. The automatic emergency systems thought there was a dangerous situation and started flashing red warning lights. Amy could be heard over all the noise, still talking cheerfully about her earthworms. And earthworms are hermaphrodites, which means each worm is both male and female at the same time. Isn't that amazing from a science point of view? They can reproduce with any other earthworm they meet. The Kothani students started leaving the auditorium in panic, floating away as fast as their gas forms could move. A group of Zenturian students in the middle section were making rapid clicking sounds with their mechanical translators. Biological. Contamination risk level, extreme, one announced. Recommend immediate quarantine procedures for all Earth organisms. No, you don't understand, Amy tried to explain, walking closer to the Zenturian section with a handful of earthworms. They're not contaminated. They're actually really clean. They eat bacteria and harmful microorganisms. They make the soil healthier, not dirtier. But as Amy got closer, more aliens started making scared noises. A group of students from planet Rigel, who looked like tall blue tubes, began vibrating with fear. They had never seen anything move the way earthworms moved, without legs, without wheels, without any mechanical parts. Tom decided to help by showing how smart Newton was. Look, he can solve puzzles, Tom said, putting a simple maze into Newton's tank. The octopus immediately began exploring the maze with his tentacles, quickly figuring out how to get through it to reach a treat on the other side. See, he's using problem-solving skills, Tom explained. Each of his arms can work independently, but they all coordinate together. It's like having 8 hands that can think for themselves. This made things worse. The alien students saw Newton's arms moving in different directions at the same time, and many of them thought it looked like some kind of monster from their worst nightmares. Jake tried a different approach. He sat down calmly and let Samantha walk onto a small wooden frame where she began building a web. Watch the mathematical patterns she creates, Jake said softly. The angles, the spacing, the structural design, it's all based on perfect geometric principles. Some of the calmer alien students actually stopped screaming and started watching. They could see that the web had very precise patterns and shapes, but then Samantha decided to demonstrate another spider ability. She quickly ran from one side of her web to the other, moving faster than most aliens could follow with their eyes. She's so quick and graceful, Jake said admiringly. Spiders are amazing athletes. They can run, jump, climb, and even fly using their silk like a parachute. A student from planet Vega made a sound like a broken motor. The predator creature can fly? Well, not exactly fly, Jake started to explain, but it was too late. The word fly had spread through the alien students like a virus. Soon everyone was talking about flying spiders, which sounded terrifying to species that had never seen anything scarier than a malfunctioning robot. Dr. Volt tried to regain control of the situation. Please everyone, stay calm. These are harmless Earth animals that help human students learn and feel comfortable. But Amy chose that moment to demonstrate how earthworms helped break down organic waste. She pulled out a container of dead leaves and showed how the worms would eat them and turn them into rich soil. This is the circle of life, Amy explained enthusiastically. Death becomes life, waste becomes food, and everything gets recycled naturally. For aliens who use technology to dispose of waste cleanly and efficiently, watching creatures eat dead things was absolutely horrifying. The emergency alarms got louder. More alien students were leaving the auditorium. And the 3 human students continued their presentations, completely unaware that they were causing the biggest diplomatic crisis in galactic history. 3 hours after what the station computer recorded as the incident, Captain Torres sat in an emergency meeting room. Around the table were representatives from all 17 alien species. The humans had been asked to stay in their rooms. with their animals while everyone else decided what to do next. The human children have formed partnerships with predator creatures, said the Altarian delegate. His crystal body was still making nervous musical sounds. This means they are either extremely brave or completely crazy. The chemical smells from their animals show the presence of decay processors, soil bacteria, and ocean predator markers, added the Kelfani representative. She had finally become solid enough to attend the meeting. But the humans show no fear or signs of sickness from these dangerous chemicals. Dr. Volt had spent the last few hours studying Earth biology on her computer. She was beginning to understand how different humans were from other species. It seems, she told the group, that humans have lived with these creatures for millions of years. What we think is scary or disgusting, they see as helpful friends. Impossible, said the delegate from planet Zentor. His mechanical voice was very firm. No intelligent species chooses to live with creatures that serve no technological purpose. It makes no logical sense. Through the meeting room's communication system, they could hear sounds from the human living quarters. There was laughter, normal conversation, and what sounded like teaching about how invertebrates behaved. Can we see what they are doing? Dr. Volt asked. The main screen turned on, showing the inside of the human quarters. Amy was showing other human students how to feed earthworms properly. Tom had Newton doing smart exercises with puzzle boxes. Jake sat peacefully while Samantha walked across a complex web she had built between two chairs. Look at their medical readings, Dr. Volt pointed to the health monitors. Their heart rates are normal, their stress chemicals are low, and their comfort hormones are actually higher than normal. These animals really do make them feel better. The Altarian delegate's crystal body changed to a thoughtful color. They are not afraid. No, Dr. Volt agreed. They are relaxed. Having these creatures near them makes them feel safe and helps them think better. A long quiet filled the meeting room as 17 different species tried to understand this information. Finally, the oldest Zentarian representative spoke. Perhaps we have underestimated human bravery. They willingly share their homes with creatures we would call biological dangers. Or, suggested the Kelfani delegate thoughtfully, they understand something about life that we have forgotten while advancing our technology. The delegate from planet Rigel, who looked like a tall blue tube, made a humming sound. On our world, we eliminated all unpredictable life forms centuries ago. We use machines for everything. But watching the humans with their creatures, there is something we may have lost. Captain Torres saw a chance to help. What if we arranged safe meetings? The humans clearly want to share their knowledge, and several of their animals do show remarkable abilities. The Altarian delegate made a worried chiming sound. But what if the creatures attack us? The earthworms cannot hurt crystal beings, Dr. Volt explained. They only eat dead plant matter and soil bacteria. And the spider stays in its web area unless Jake invites it to move. What about the 8-armed sea creature? Asked a delegate. From planet Vega. The octopus Newton stays in his water tank, Dr. Volt said. Tom only lets him out in controlled situations. And Newton has shown problem-solving intelligence that might interest your engineering students. The Kelfani representative shifted from purple to curious yellow. You mean we could learn from these creatures? That's exactly what the humans are trying to tell us, Captain Torres said. They don't just keep these animals as pets. They learn from them. Dr. Volt pulled up more information on her tablet. Look at this data. Earthworms process organic waste more efficiently than most mechanical recycling systems. The octopus can solve puzzles that challenge advanced AI computers. And spider webs use mathematical principles that could improve our engineering designs. The room became very quiet as the alien delegates thought about this new information. The youngest Altarian delegate, a student representative named Cree, spoke up. In our culture, we value harmony and beautiful patterns. The spider's web, It did have very pleasing geometric shapes. And the earthworm waste processing, added a Zenturian delegate, could solve our organic disposal problems more naturally than our current machines. The Kalthani representative was now glowing with interest. The octopus intelligence operates without digital enhancement. This could teach us new ways of thinking. But there were still worried voices. What about safety? Asked the Rigelian delegate. What if the creatures escape and spread throughout the station? We could create controlled observation areas, Captain Torres suggested. Safe distances for different species with protective barriers if needed. And translation systems, added Dr. Volt. So the humans can explain what their animals do and why they help with learning. The vegan delegate made a clicking sound. Our young students have never seen biological intelligence before. This could be very educational. But we must proceed carefully, insisted the Zentarian elder. One mistake could endanger everyone. The Altarian delegate's crystal body rang with a new tone. Perhaps courage is not just about facing mechanical challenges. Perhaps it is also about understanding life in all its forms. Dr. Volt looked around the room. She could see that opinions were starting to change. Fear was slowly being replaced by curiosity. The humans have been patient, she pointed out. They haven't complained about being confined to their quarters. They're waiting for us to feel comfortable. And their animals, added Captain Torres, have shown no aggressive behavior. They seem as gentle as the humans claim. The Kalthani representative floated higher with excitement. We could establish new scientific partnerships. Human biological knowledge combined with our technological advances could create amazing discoveries. Educational exchange in its truest form, agreed the Altarian delegate, but the Zenturian elder still looked worried. We need strict protocols, safety measures, emergency procedures. Of course, Captain Torres nodded. We'll start very slowly, with maximum safety for everyone. The Rigelian delegate made a decision. Our students came here to learn about other species. Perhaps it is time they learned about courage as well. One by one, the alien delegates began agreeing to try controlled meetings with the humans and their animals. Fear was giving way to scientific curiosity and respect for human bravery. Dr. Volt watched the delegates planning safety protocols and learning schedules. What had started as a crisis was slowly becoming the most unique educational opportunity in galactic history. 2 weeks later, Unity's dawn looked completely different from before. The main science lab had been changed into what humans called a petting zoo. There were special sections with different environments so alien students could watch Earth. Creatures from safe distances. Dr. Volt stood near the earthworm observation area. She watched Amy Chun showing a group of Zenturian agriculture students how earthworms processed soil. The alien students stayed exactly 3 meters away, but they were asking many questions through their translators. The organisms consumed dead organic matter and produced nutrient-rich waste? Asked a Zenturian student named Beta-7. Yes. Amy said happily, holding up a handful of rich, dark earth. They're like living soil factories. Each earthworm can process the same amount of organic matter as its own body weight every single day. The Zenturian students made excited clicking sounds with their mechanical bodies. They had never seen biological recycling that worked so efficiently. In the next section, Tom was working with a team of Altarian engineering students. They were documenting all the amazing things Newton could do. The octopus had successfully completed a complex maze designed by crystal minds that had never imagined biological intelligence could work without computer enhancement. Its brain structure is completely spread out, one Altarian student chimed. In wonder, each arm operates independently while staying connected to the main consciousness. Newton seemed to enjoy the attention. He changed colors from red to blue to spotted patterns while solving puzzle after puzzle. The Altarian students recorded every color change and arm movement. "He's showing off," Tom laughed. Newton likes it when people watch him solve problems. Jake's sessions with Samantha had attracted the most surprising audience. A group of Kelphanese students were studying pattern recognition and mathematical principles by watching the spider build webs. The gas-based aliens floated around the protective barrier, changing colors with excitement as they analyzed web structures. The structural strength achieved with minimal material usage exceeds our most efficient building algorithms. Observe the Kelphani student named Flux. His gaseous form shifted from purple to bright yellow with amazement. Samantha seemed to understand. She was being studied. She built increasingly complex web patterns, almost as if she was teaching the aliens about geometry and engineering. Captain Torres walked through the converted lab area, reading daily reports on her tablet. What had started as panic had become the most popular educational program on the station. The human students were now the most requested teachers, not despite their unusual pets, but because of them. "Captain," Officer Martinez approached with the daily communication summary. "We're getting messages from 12 different star systems. They want to establish similar programs with Earth. Word has spread about human biological courage and practical life integration." Captain Torres smiled as she watched students from different worlds working together on projects that combined alien technology with Earth biology. Amy was helping Zenturian students design better soil processing systems based on earthworm digestive methods. Tom and the Altarians were developing new problem-solving techniques inspired by octopus intelligence. Jake's meditation methods, enhanced by spider web patterns, had become a station-wide stress management program. DeVolt joined them at the observation area. She was watching a young Kelphani student very carefully extending a gaseous tendril toward one of Amy's earthworms in its protective container. "The most remarkable thing," Dr. Volt said thoughtfully, "is that we spent years preparing for cultural exchange by focusing on our technologies and achievements. Nobody thought to prepare for sharing the simple relationship between a student and their pet." In the earthworm section, Amy was explaining soil science to her fascinated audience. "See how they break down the dead leaves? They turn waste into food for plants. It's a perfect cycle. Nothing gets wasted. Everything becomes useful again." A Zentarian student named Gamma 2 processed this information through her mechanical brain. "This biological system is more efficient than our waste disposal technology, and it requires no external power source." "Exactly," Amy beamed. "Nature figured out recycling millions of years before we invented machines to do it." Over in Newton's area, the octopus was demonstrating his color-changing abilities to a mixed group of alien students. Tom explained how each color meant something different. Red means he's excited, brown means he's calm, and when he gets spotted like that, it means he's thinking really hard about a problem. An Altarian student named Cree chimed softly. "So the creature communicates through visual patterns? Like our crystal resonance, but with skin pigmentation?" "In a way, yes," Tom nodded. "He also communicates through touch and body language. Watch how he positions his arms when he's curious versus when he's cautious." The alien students were learning to read Newton's moods and intentions. Some had even started trying to communicate by creating light patterns that the octopus could see through his tank walls. Jake's corner had become the quietest area of the lab. Students from multiple species sat in meditation poses, watching Samantha create intricate web patterns. The mathematical precision of her work had impressed even the most technologically advanced aliens. "The stress reduction effect is measurable," reported a Rigelian student who had been monitoring brainwave patterns. "Observing the web construction process decreases anxiety indicators by 34% across all tested species." Jake sat peacefully, with Samantha on his hand. "She taught me that patience creates beautiful things. You can't rush art or nature." Throughout the converted lab, small groups of humans and aliens worked together on joint projects. Language barriers dissolved as students used drawings, gestures, and demonstrations to share knowledge. Amy had started a composting project with Zentarian and vegan students, showing how earthworms could process organic waste from multiple planet types. Tom collaborated with Altarian engineers to design underwater research tools based on octopus arm mechanics. Jake worked with Kelfeni mathematicians to map the geometric principles found in different types of spider webs. The station's dining area had also changed. Alien students now ate their meals while watching Earth documentaries about animal behavior. Some had requested to see videos of Earth's forests, oceans, and grasslands where these creatures live naturally. "I never knew planets could have so much chaos," admitted a Centaurian student. "But it creates such diversity and adaptation." A Kelfeni student floated nearby. "Our world is very controlled and organized. But watching these creatures makes me wonder what we might have lost when we eliminated all unpredictable life." Dr. Volt continued her observations, documenting the most successful interspecies educational exchange in galactic history. The program that had started with screaming and panic had become a model for understanding between different forms of life. As station lights dimmed to simulate planetary night cycles, gentle sounds filled Unity's dawn. There was the soft movement of creatures in their habitats, the satisfied breathing of students learning from their companions, and occasionally, the delighted sounds of alien species discovering that intelligence and friendship could exist in the most unexpected forms.